Welcome to Vin and Mike, episode 61.
Hello, Vinny.
How are you? How are you feeling over there? I know you got a little cold going on.
I'm gonna use a Dan Hernandez line. This fragile boy has a cold right now. So. and the reason behind this, I was laughing because something totally out of the blue. I was my buddy John, my next door neighbor, started Morgan Stanley with Dan, and Dan had told him a story of when we were at a rooftop back in Jersey City, and it was the hottest day of the freaking year. No joke, hot as hell, humid. I hadn't drank any water, and there were no umbrellas upstairs, right? Oh. So the Maz was with us, right? And then I was struggling, and I'm just like, oh my God, I just got to get downstairs. I felt I was going to pass out. And he's like, Mike, that fragile boy, he needs to get him some water. And then Dan somehow, I forgot about the story, and Dan remembered the story, but that's what they were saying. And then he tells my neighbor the story, and then they're texting me, ganging up on me. It's just funny as hell.
The world of Mike. People just gang up on him on text.
That's right. Tough being Mike. So, and also, I want to give a shout out real quick before you do our sponsor.
Yeah.
Big shout out today. It was at Mark, who was actually with us. We're almost at a year for this podcast, January 18th. Yeah, and funny enough, Mark, along with Mr. Stokes, was with us for that really that dinner that really took place back then. Mark's a great guy. Vinny got to meet him. His father passed away last week, and I wanted to really give him a shout out. Great guy. One thing that really stood out, we had a laugh today, was this guy. There's been people who've shake your hand, and this guy had the hardest handshake I've ever seen in my life. His father, as a kid, you went to go shake his hand, and it was like a rock. And they joke around. They say, he had that handshake even with the nurses until just a week about his passing. So that did not change. So really wanted to dedicate this episode to him. He was a really, really good man. And you just know that by meeting Mark, who's great, and the kids. So, to Stephen Caracappa, this show's to you. So, yeah.
Very cool. And then here's another extra special shout out. Hold on. I'm going to throw it up there. Yeah. There you go.
Yes.
Adrian has been born. Alvaro, congratulations. Listening to the podcast and getting them ready right away. Thank you. Congratulations,
baby
Alvaro, his fiance / wife / the one that's in charge. Just over there, so all that good stuff. So I'm happy for him and his family. It was a nice text I received. I think it was Saturday morning. It was just very nice to see, and congratulations. So really happy for him and his family. So. Good people over there in that Angulo house. Oh,
the best. Yeah. No, I just think about this guy had the opportunity to go work for Vinny. Vinny's stupid sense of humor, and Vinny's his parents were all nervous that Vinny was gonna, he was gonna go move to New Jersey from Virginia. And then I just imagine, I told him we laughed at Vinny's office one day, because you imagine Vinny comes in, knocks on the door. Hey, Mrs. Angulo, I'm going to take good care of your son.
Don't worry, got him okay. He's all good.
He's wearing his Star Wars gear, and Alvaro's so calm. He's like, yeah, Mama, everything's going to be okay.
I got a cup of coffee and Star Wars gear. She's all good.
That's right. Oh, man.
Good stuff. Very good. All right. Vin and Mike is brought to you by Viggy Betts. Go to Twitter, Instagram right now at Viggy Betts. And tell him you're a fan of Vin and Mike, and he will take care of you. Tonight we got some college football championship, college basketball, NFL playoffs coming. He does it all. Give him a shout out. Best handicapper in the business. he'll take care of you. So we're also on the Pigskin Podcast Network. We're on KKFI in Kansas City.
Go Kansas City.
And, of course, you can catch everything on our website, Vin and Mike podcast.com. We also, if you go over there, go to our store, shirts, cups, everything, all donations going to our charity. And I think this month we will donate to Mr. Hamlin's charity this month. I think that's the right way to move forward with the show, and big number 3 there, and making sure that we take care of him. It's kind of funny, Mike. I was thinking about this as I was in the gym today.
Right.
That last week, at this time, we were hosting the show with Jason Bailey and just talking about college football and the Monday Night Football game and how big of a game it was and all this stuff. And then a few hours later, this young man is, had his cardiac arrest and fighting for his life and all this craziness that's going on Monday night. And me and you, had a tough time watching it. And I know a lot of people did. And it was just very emotional and a lot of stuff, right? And I think it plays into, being teammates and all that stuff. And we know how important that is to us and everything we do, and, how we have our tight, circle and our locker room, right? Like essentially like our little locker room of people that get together and all that. And it was great news as I was leaving the gym and saw that he was released from the Trauma One Center in Cincinnati. He's going to head to another hospital back in the Buffalo area to continue his rehabilitation, but he's really out of, ICU, out of critical condition. He's in the recovery stages. 7 days later. It's just great to hear, and really just wanted to give that shout out and an update if anybody hasn't heard, so they know what's going on. Plus, how we felt about it. And I'll let you talk a little bit how you felt.
Yeah, what a story. And, pretty much what Vin said, when you saw that, you were just shocked. Honestly, we talked that night, and you just watch that replay. And this young man, right before the game, hugging his mother, hugging his uncle, 24 years old. And then just a hit, just changes your whole life. And that just shows how precious life is. But to what Vinny was saying, that the power of number 3, community coming together, is so powerful, right? Sometimes we just got to take a step back, put everything in perspective. Unfortunately, sometimes it takes a horrific incident like that to really put things in perspective. But you saw that people just gathered, and no, it wasn't about football. Football is football. Vin and I, we love it. We watch it every week. But at the end of the day, it's football. This was a human life, and that's what comes first.
Yep.
So people just took a deep breath to really look at that. And to see that news today, and even before, when you heard that, you just got chills when he was writing on a piece of paper. He was able to write who won, and he started communicating with the doctors, and then just to hear the amazing news today that he was discharged. And I mean, you can't get better than that. And then we'll get into the Bills game soon enough, but that was just unbelievable in itself. And there's just this whole kind of universe, but no, we couldn't be happier as sports fans. And again, what a story.
Yeah, definitely a wild week.
Yes.
A wild weekend of what went on and everything, and all the good news that was coming out really from last Thursday and everything. So it was good to hear. So let's jump into it. I don't know which game, who you want to start with. I don't know if you want to start with that game.
I promised Kyle. Promised him, our friend Kyle. He would have came on the phone tonight, but he's going to the Knicks Celtics game. So,
okay.
But he wanted me to quote him, but we'll do that after we analyze that Packers Lions game last night.
Yeah.
So, go ahead, Vin.
Yeah. So I'm just gonna say a few things, and then I'll let you very
please.
quick, and I'm gonna hand it real back to you. Aaron Rodgers, probably one of the greatest arms in the history of football, could do things that a lot of quarterbacks can't ever do. But I looked at that game, and thinking about his legacy. And it's a Green Bay Packer quarterback in Lambeau Field in the cold, playing a division rival who's a dome team in cold weather, a game that went it in and really failed when it was most needed, right? That interception late in the game really failed, didn't come through when you had to. And then I heard some people talking today about, his last 2 playoff games in the last, 2 seasons and how they lost in Lambeau Field in those games as well. And really their last 3 seasons have ended with Rodgers not coming through in Lambeau Field. And I think as great of an arm he is and first ballot Hall of Famer, all-time legend, I think his legacy takes a step back, And, that's my overall thought of it. I'll pass it on to you, with some of your thoughts on the game itself and what Kyle said and all that.
Yeah. So, the way I look at it is when we talked about this before the season started, the amount of money that they were going to pay Rodgers, we really said it's Super Bowl or bust. Remember that, Vin? Remember? We said those exact words. So when you, as a premier player that Aaron Rodgers is, and you have a chance winning in, and you can't perform like that, you're absolutely right, Vinny, that what does that say about your legacy? It was a horrific game for the Packers yesterday. And that interception at the end of the game just took the air out of everything. But it felt like he was not – there was very poor usage of the running backs yesterday. The throws were inaccurate, and the team was just not there to play. And you're on your own field, right? You're home. They should have taken care of business.
Yeah, and I think at 9-3, and I don't know how much of the game you watched last night. I watched the whole game. So at 9-3, and Aaron Jones fumble as they're moving the ball down the field. Yeah. And I want to say that was right before the half. I think it was somewhere in there. I thought that was a momentum switch because I thought it was before the half. I had a feeling we were going to go into the half there. Minimum 12-3. I felt like the Packers were really going to score there.
Right.
6. I thought they were going to go in 16-3 at half. And I really thought that's where the game was going to be. And then, if I'm right, I think it was 9-6 at half. And, a team that's playing like the Lions, yes, they're playing so Green Bay doesn't make the playoffs. They know that their chance is over with Seattle winning. They already knew that. And I thought down 16-3 in that cold and knowing that, hey, we're trying to keep Green Bay from not, making it. But I don't know if they're going to have that same energy level coming out in the second half. And I think that, to me, was a big momentum switch for them. And I still think Green Bay didn't take advantage of situations, when they could, up 16-13, right. Making defensive plays, bonehead play by Quay Walker. They're pushing the trainer, getting that stupid penalty, getting ejected when
that was
their best run.
That was ridiculous. That was insane.
And he apologized. He did all the right things today because he knew, he just did.
It was in the moment, but still, you have to be disciplined in those situations.
And there was a couple of those, right? There was a couple of those for the Packers. I saw, LaFleur, the even at 9-3, what's his name? I forget the corner. Rasheed Douglas. He just walks over and knocks the ball out of the center's hand. Before they kicked. I didn't even understand what he was doing. Like what was he doing? He got a 15-yard penalty right before the half there also. So I think a couple of those, mental mistakes, the way the team played. You start thinking about LaFleur and like what's going to be his next step. I know he's going to come back, but you got to start thinking like, is this guy have this team, where they're supposed to be moving forward? Like what happens when Aaron Rodgers steps away? And it's possible he steps away next year, right? Or they try to trade him or something else. So how's LaFleur going to react to that? And I tell you, that game made you feel like, the Packers maybe don't have much discipline. Maybe, they're a little overhyped and all that stuff. But at the same time, I think Aaron Rodgers has a lot to blame for a lot of that.
You hit on Kyle's comments. I like to say them now. I quote for our good friend Kyle Mansky, who's been on the program multiple times.
Yeah.
By Kyle, at the end of the day, Packers are who they are, who we thought they were. Offense, aging QB with an inexperienced wide receiving core, unhealthy O-line, and poor usage of the running back, which I actually said before. No wonder they were dead last in red zone efficiency. Defense, he said, talented individual players, but poor coaching and lack of discipline. And then he said, as far as Matt LaFleur is concerned, should get another shot, but he's afraid of the big moment. Once again, his team was not prepared for the big game. And what does it all come down to? Coaching. It always does.
Yeah, coaching is very important in the NFL. You know, it's very important because, you know, we had some coaches fired late last night. Lovie Smith, Cliff Kingsbury from the Cardinals was fired today. We know during the season we had some coaches fired in season, all this stuff. But really what it comes down to is putting these players in position to succeed, right? Knowing the strengths of your team and winning. You know, look at Jacksonville. Look at, you know, Doug Peterson. He had Carson Wentz as an MVP candidate, and the guy hasn't done anything in the last 6 years. Nick Foles, a journeyman quarterback, still a journeyman quarterback, wins the Super Bowl. If you look at his NFC Championship game and Super Bowl stats, they're like off the charts. I mean, off the charts. The guy was during that stretch when the Eagles, you know, won the NFC Championship in the Super Bowl. And now he takes Trevor Lawrence, who was struggling. You know, a lot of people thought he was going to be the super first-round bust and all this stuff. And the last 8 games of the season, the guy looks like an all-pro quarterback, really putting up big numbers. You know, they're one of 3 teams in the history of football to go 4-8 and then win the next 5 games or whatever it was, or, you know, win the next 5 or 3-8, whatever the stat is. But all said and done, you know, they're in the playoffs, you know, and that. So I take that and I look at, you know, that and coaching and how important it is, right? You know, to regress. And again, Bill Belichick hiring Matt Patricia, you can see the fall off in the offense with Mac Jones. You know, Josh McDaniels left as offensive coordinator. I mean, all those little things that you could see, you know, and how Brian Dable came in. You know, I mean, you go through it all, right? And ultimately, the game is so close now. The talent levels are so close. The information these teams have and how they put teams together. And you got to remember, salary cap, you know, revenue sharing, everything is equal in the NFL, right? You're spending really about the same amount of money. You're going to all the same combines, all to the same practices. You got coaches and scouts that were all over the place. All these guys know each other. So really, what is the X factor when it comes down to it? It's basically drafting the right players, putting them in the right spot, and coaching them into success, right? So I think that's what it all comes down to.
I was going to make a joke, and in the Jets case, the last couple of games, learning how to call timeout at the pivotal moment.
That's right. And that's the kind of thing where, you know, Robert Salah, now people are starting to say, you know, is he the right guy for the Jets? All of a sudden now those rumblings happen. No, you got to give it
time. You have
right?
Yeah, plenty of time.
Now, would you change the other LaFleur as the offensive coordinator there? Would you make a move there? If I told you I can hire Frank Reich as your offensive coordinator, you know, would you make that move?
I think the answer would have to be yes.
Right. So, I mean, they're going to have to consider some of those moves. I think defensively, they're phenomenal. They're you know, people said, well, the defense was a top 10 defense. I think they were better than that because the offense was so bad that the defense had to be on the field a lot more than they should have been. And didn't have the luxury of a lot of these top defenses, right? Like everyone looks at San Francisco and Philadelphia, but look at their offenses, right? I mean, these guys are high-flying, scoring offenses. It makes it makes defense a little easier when it becomes a little one-dimensional sometimes.
Yeah.
And when it's not one-dimensional and the Jets put up the way they did things, you got to give them a lot of credit. So this defense, I think, is built to take those next steps. But, again, coaching is going to be a big thing for them, next year. Especially, I think Joe Douglas did a good job the last few years with the draft. Yes, they may have missed on the quarterback here. I'm not sure what Zach Wilson's going to be or not be, but I'm pretty sure they'll have somebody in place come September that's going to either be Zach Wilson 2.0, meaning that he's going to be a lot better than we saw this year, or Derek Carr, Jimmy Garoppolo, or someone else is going to be there, and they're going to need to show instant improvement.
Oh, we talked about that you built a great core. There's been significant injuries like Breece Hall and others, right? But the drafting of Joe Douglas was phenomenal. But at the end of the day, who's your leader on the field? Your quarterback.
Yep.
We did not have that.
Yep.
We went through, between Flacco, Mike White, and Zach Wilson, there was no consistency. Now it's time to really, you get that person in place, you'll be right there. They're so talented. So just got to hope they make the right moves, and time will tell.
All right, let's regress a little bit here. Let's go back to Saturday and Sunday and some of these games and everything. Mm-hmm. So if you run down the seeding, I'll start with the AFC. Kansas City, of course, is the 1A seed, I would say, right? Mm-hmm. And I say 1A because Buffalo, Kansas City, AFC Championship game will be played on a neutral field, which will be interesting to see if they announce it,
right?
And then where that is. I know Mark Davis has offered up Allegiant Stadium out in Vegas. I don't think they'll do West Coast, but I don't know. Maybe they will. At the same time, I think Detroit might be a good spot for it. Atlanta might be a good spot for it, and we'll see what happens with that. But so that's your 1 and 2. Bengals are your 3. Jaguars now slipped in as your 4 when we thought Tennessee was going to be that all season. The 5, the Chargers move into that spot. The Ravens drop to 6. And, of course, Miami, with the help of the New York Jets, squeeze in at the number 7 seed. So I was thinking about this before we go into this, the 7 seeds. Seattle and Miami, I don't think they were the 2 best teams that were eligible for those spots that got in. I really think the Lions and the Steelers were the 2 better teams at this point in the season. What did you think?
Oh, I totally agree. I think it was I think it was luck of the draw there for them. They have not been playing well. I mean, you look, Miami did win against the Jets, but they didn't do it in any dramatic way. Now, keep in mind, Tua was not in the game. But what'd you win? 11-6. You won that on a safety. There was no touchdowns the whole game, right?
How many quarters has it been since the Jets have scored a touchdown? It's got to be
28 possessions. I think it was 28 something. It was something ridiculous stat.
I mean, they haven't scored a touchdown in 3 games, right?
What's
3.
What's funny though? Thank God I did not bet that game. I feel sorry for gamblers who did. Spread was 3.5.
Oh, that safety at the end.
I would have went nuts.
Oh,
I would have went nuts if I was,
There's always
the Jets. Yes. I was talking to one of my friends. The Jets always manage. They screwed bettors yesterday. And they helped the Dolphins.
Oh, they helped everyone.
But the Dolphins, to me, like, you got to go in and play Buffalo. Come on. It's like.
So out of those 7 teams, right, that are in.
Yeah.
We know the Chiefs, Bills, Bengals are
those
the
3.
top 3. Do you think any of the other 4 have a legitimate shot? Like do you think the Jaguars have a legit shot? The Chargers, the Ravens?
I think the Ravens. Shot? Yeah, I think the Ravens, if you get Lamar back, sure.
Okay.
I do. But no, I think we've talked about this on previous shows that, to me, I honestly don't think so. I think it's really the Chiefs, Bills, and the Bengals. Those have been the elite teams in the AFC. It's very different in the NFC, where that's kind of a crapshoot, in my opinion. You're going to see these three teams really battle it. I just don't think they have the talent that these three teams, have had consistently the whole season. And we're going to see what we hopefully saw last year in these playoffs, which was so exciting. But no, I don't, Vinny. I don't. You agree with that? I can't see it.
I think there's on those three teams, and I think the Bengals, might have the Bills and the Chiefs number, right? I mean,
I said it.
It's going to be interesting that most likely they're going to have to play two road games to get to the Super Bowl again, right? Similar to last year. The only problem is it's the Bills most likely, and then the Chiefs. It's not the Titans and the Chiefs. And then they get the Ravens for the third time. I don't know if Lamar is going to play.
Right.
Without Lamar, I don't see the Ravens having much of a shot.
That's the only way.
Right. I don't think they have much of a shot. The Chargers and the Jaguars game is interesting because I think the Chargers are a better team. I just think their coach is horrific. Even yesterday. Why? Mike Williams has been hurt all year, right? He's been. Why play him at all when you're not playing for anything? Joey Bosa was out for 13 games. Why even have him take a snap? I didn't get that.
There's nothing, right? Why
right?
take the chance?
Why take the chance? I get maybe you want to get him a series or two, maybe, but I don't see any benefit to that. You have an opportunity to rest these guys that already have had injury-plagued seasons. Why not give them an opportunity to rest? And I think about all those moves that Brandon Staley makes, and I think that's why, with all the talent they got there in Charger land, I think that's one of the reasons I just can't see them continuing to advance. I think if there was better coaching, again, we talk about coaching, I think they would have a more legit shot.
Right.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. All right, so let's flip to the NFC real quick. Okay. So, of course, Eagles, Niners, Vikings, the Brady Buccaneers, the Dak Cowboys, the New York Giants, the New York Giants, and the Seattle Seahawks, who, if you remember, I predicted them to be the worst team in football, and you predicted the Bears to be the worst team in football, and you can thank Lovie Smith for coming through with your prediction.
I wish I put a bet on that. I don't think there was a real one.
I don't know. Can you bet the worst team? Probably.
I don't think so. No, I just listen. It's I remember. This is why it's fun to go back on those old podcasts to really see what.
I can only imagine.
But I think you and I both, and anyone, did not think Russell Wilson was going to have a worse season than Geno Smith, let alone that they're going to make the playoffs. And it seemed like yesterday Seahawks they just wanted to give that game away yesterday. They're very fortunate to win. So
yeah. Crazy. Yeah, I don't know. It's Seattle's gonna have to go to San Francisco. The Giants will be in Minnesota, and Dallas will be in Tampa. Now, Jason Garrett last night on Sunday Night Football, who's now one of the pregame hosts, he thinks Dallas is weak on the road on grass, and he specifically mentioned that. And and I think he brought that up for a reason. So of course, going to Tampa on the road on grass, and the way Dallas played yesterday, I mean, you got to be very skeptical of what Cowboys team is going to show up here, right? Like who's going to show up for this Dallas team against Tampa? What are you thinking?
Well, I mean, listen, yesterday it was concerning. Losing to a Commanders team and the way that they played. So it all comes down. What Dak's going to come to play? That's it. What Cowboys team is going to come to play? As I tell people, with playoffs in the NFL especially, it's just getting in and anything could happen, right? The Cowboys have been, to me, just very, like a roller coaster the whole season. When they play well, remember when they were in Minnesota and they totally kicked their ass? Totally kicked their ass.
Yeah, they won 40-3.
And then the next week I forget what happened. Then they went totally downhill. they've been an extremely inconsistent team. So you're absolutely right. How are they going to come play? And then this Tampa team you just laugh about, right? That all year they're mediocre and they get a home game. So go figure. Brady, he always manages to find a way.
Not only did Tom Brady get a home game, he had nothing to play for yesterday, so he got to rest and basically took half a game and rested the rest of the game. So he's going to come in, ready to go.
Yeah. Oh man.
It's insane, right?
Yeah. Crazy.
All right, I'm trying to find where is the. Let's see here. I'm trying to find the commercial. It's not here.
Yeah. While you're looking for that, shout out also to Evan who's watching live here. I told him, Vin, that we have to have him back to do our movie part 2 of the movie segment.
Yeah,
that was so much fun.
Know what? We should just do a special show with Evan, and we'll just, maybe on like an off night, like a Thursday or Friday, and just do sports movies, and we'll just talk about sports movies for like an hour.
As long as you bring the popcorn.
I have a popcorn and a VHS tape of Air Bud.
Oh, then I am in.
All right, I got to find this commercial here.
All right, you find it.
Wait, give me 1 second. I'll find it real quick here. Hold on.
All right.
And let's see these updated scripts. Okay, here it is. I don't know why they didn't put it in the folder. These monkeys.
You should yell at them. Make it organized for Vin. Come on.
You guys there at TPPN, you should have this stuff ready for me. All right, ready? Here we go. All right. The NFL playoff picture is locked in, and my go-to place for wild card round action is DraftKings Sportsbook, an official sports betting partner of the NFL. To kick off the road to the Super Bowl 57, new customers can bet just $5 and get 200 in free bets instantly. Plus, all new, and this is the big one, Mike, existing customers can get a no-sweat bet each day of the wild card round this weekend. Just place an NFL bet of your choice, and if it loses, you get a free bet back up to $10. Action so good, why bet NFL playoffs anywhere else? So how did we do this weekend in football? I know I had the worst.
You had the best over bet possible.
The worst pick ever. I think I missed my over by 50 points. So. It was ridiculous. The last 3 weeks you could have just bet against me and you would have won every single game. But it is what it is, right? We do what we do. Okay. Download the DraftKings Sportsbook app and use code TPPN. New customers can bet $5 on the NFL and get $200 in free bets instantly. Only at DraftKings Sportsbook with code TPPN. Minimum age and eligibility restrictions apply. See show notes for details. All right. Okay. Thank God I found that the script. I bet you most people at TPPN aren't even going to find it and not know where it is, and no one's going to read commercials, and no one's going to make any money this week.
Yeah. Speaking of bets, Vinny was so nice. He goes the last leg of my parlay was the Packers, and then he texts me like, "Oh, they killed you." I'm like, "Thanks, Vinny. That's so nice of you."
Oh. Listen, I had the Saints and Panthers over 41.5.
Greatest. Yeah.
When I saw Sam Darnold at 5 for 12 for 40 yards, I knew I was not going to make 41 points if I tried. By the way, Sam Darnold, man, he was like a roller coaster.
That's a roller coaster. That is a roller coaster right there.
He threw 300 yards and 3 touchdowns, I think, the week before, and then this week he was just like stellar. So, all right, let's talk a little bit about this Bills game. Okay. So, it's the national game. Nance and Romo are covering it.
Yeah,
there. It's a big game. The first time they're playing since the Hamlin injury and everything that went on. and New England is fighting for their lives to make the playoffs. And, of course, the Bills are playing for that second seed and potentially that neutral field game. And everyone goes to the game, right? The Red Zone channel, which I watch religiously, I'm sitting there, and I have it on.
Right.
And Scott Hansen flips it over, and here's the kickoff, and Nance has got the call. And I see Hines catch it I think it was about the 4-yard line, and just starts going up the right side. And he just literally beats everybody. He got past the kicker, and then there was 2 other guys trying to catch him. And I couldn't believe what I was seeing, that he ran this back 96 yards. I'm looking for, the flag sign in the bottom corner of the screen. I'm looking for I couldn't believe.
Right. Looking for that hold.
This guy runs this 96-yard back. I mean, it's just like one of those moments in sports that you're never going to forget, right? It's like one of the biggest stories in the history of the NFL, right? With this cardiac arrest and everything. It's a huge story. It's going to go on for forever. And to have that as the first play when this team gets back on the field, you can't make it up. It's just unbelievable. What were you thinking when you saw it, heard it, the whole thing?
It was just like storybook. It was storybook. I mean, everything that happened, all the anticipation, then you make a play like that. How long does he do it once? He does it twice. Let's not forget about that. I mean, that's just incredible in itself. You get chills from that. It's unbelievable.
I'll tell you what got me emotional.
Sure.
Is I'm watching Josh Allen's press conference after the game, and Josh Allen says that, I'm guessing the trainer or the PR person, whoever it was, I'm guessing their PR person, says to him, that was the first kickoff that we returned for a touchdown since 3 years and 3 months ago.
Oh, yes, and that's his number 3. That's crazy.
Yeah. And as Josh Allen is saying that, he gets choked up. And as he gets choked up, I'm sitting there getting a little choked up watching him, because it's just a special moment, right? And it goes back to that belief in team and prayer and all the stuff that went on for a solid week. And I think we always say coincidence aren't coincidences, right? We always talk about that.
Big time.
3-3 definitely meant something somewhere, and it was just a special moment, and
it was awesome.
It was great to see. But back to the game, I thought the Bills held in there. I thought it was a very tough game for them.
Hats off to the Patriots.
Patriots played strong, much stronger than I thought. And then that second kickoff was the end. That was like the dagger, right? At that point, the game was over. But I'm very surprised. Bill Belichick prides himself on special teams. It's like a huge thing for him. And I think this is the second or maybe the third game, at least the second game that I've seen the special teams play poorly for New England, and not do the little things that they normally do. I was pretty shocked in that. And then the regression on the offense, which you can say whatever you want. We know it's hiring non-offensive coordinators or non-offensive coaches to be coordinators and all this stuff. It's just a little ridiculous kind of stuff. But I would expect New England to flip that around next year. But I was again, Allen was good. He threw 3 touchdowns. Really, came on in the second half there. He didn't run a lot. Wasn't a typical Josh.
No, wasn't.
Wasn't that kind of game. It was, like I said, it was a lot closer than I expected until that second half kickoff return touchdown. And then, of course, everybody was hoping for a third, for that number 3, because I don't think anyone in the history of the NFL has ever had 3 kickoffs for touchdowns. I think the last one they said that had 2 was Leon Washington, who I don't know if he was with the Jets when he.
I don't think he was with the Jets when he did it.
No, but he was he was like one of those special kick returners. But yeah, he was the last one that returned 2 in the game. And Hines was part of the in-season trade for the Bills. You know, they got him. They traded Zach Moss away and brought him in. And you could see, like, finally, like things finally played out for him as well. But I think Buffalo's in a good spot. I never saw them. I'll be honest. I didn't think they were going to beat Cincinnati that night on Monday night.
Yeah.
I always saw them as more of the potential 2 seed or even the 3 seed.
Right.
So I think them being the 2 seed is where I expected them to be. And of course, Patrick Mahomes will never play a road game in the playoffs, as he'll have his 5th straight year where he has no road games. So it's just amazing what Kansas City he does. But I think the Bills are going to be one of those teams that a lot of money's going to go on them because people think it's a special season now and all that stuff. But I don't know. I just think. I think that Cincinnati Bengals matchup. Right now, if I was to pick, I'm going to pick the Bengals in that game.
Yeah, I mean, I said it. I feel the Bengals have their number. I do.
All right, so let's there's a lot here. Let's run some of these games down. Who you like?
Yeah, let's do it.
We'll do it fast. You want to do spreads? Real quick?
If you have them in front of you, please.
Let me grab them. Hold on. This will be real quick. We'll run
let's do it. This will be fun. Here. I like this a lot.
Yeah, let's do some NFL. And now again, everybody that's listening on Spotify or Apple Podcasts, as this comes up a little later. A lot of you listen the next day, Tuesday, Wednesday. We're recording on Monday, January 9th. The championship football game hasn't even been played yet, the college game. So, things can happen before Saturday, Sunday, Monday here. So we're just going off what the odds are right now, Monday, January 9th. So don't come and yell at me on.
Yeah, no, you have to put that disclaimer in.
Yeah, because I get people yelling at me all the time.
Yeah.
All right, here we go.
Go ahead.
49ers -10 home Seahawks.
Based on the way I saw Seattle play and the way the 49ers have been playing, I'll take the 49ers -10.
Okay. Here's an interesting one. Mm-hmm. Jaguars +1 home Chargers. Well, essentially a pick'em game.
It's a pick'em game. You said, what'd you say before? You thought the Chargers were the better team, Vin?
I do. I just don't know.
Then it comes down to coaching. If it's a pick'em game and you're home and that crowd, it may energize them. So the pick'em to me, if it's a pick'em game, I'll take the home team and I'll take the Jaguars. It's
a West Coast to East Coast game.
Yeah,
right.
That's the other thing.
It's an 8:15. It's an 8:15 Saturday game too.
Yep.
So essentially, it's a short week, not overly short, but it's a short week for the Chargers, not for the Jaguars. Right? Jaguars full rest. So
all right. Take the Jags.
So now we go to Sunday, 1 o'clock.
Yep.
Bills home.
Yep.
-10.5 over the Dolphins. Now I think some of the things are going to have to play into this.
Right, with Tua.
Right? So. Like, is Tua going to play? If Tua doesn't play, is Bridgewater going to play? Right?
Yeah.
Such
a hard one to pick unless we know the quarterback who's going to play. But I will say this: if Tua does play, I know that spread won't be that, so I think it's something we have to get back to. But I don't think you should count the Dolphins out. I think New England played Buffalo very tough. I actually think the Dolphins are going to do the same. I think they're well coached, although what we saw against the Jets was but I think that if it's a double-digit point spread, I'd be more favorable to just go with the Dolphins to keep it somewhat close.
All right.
We'll see.
4:00 or 4:40 or whatever time the game goes off in Minnesota. The New York Giants head there. The Vikings right now -3.
Yeah, I am going to pick the Giants to win.
Plus 140 on that money line right now.
So I think Minnesota's been so vulnerable all year. We talked about the record and what they've done. I feel like Dable is an outstanding coach. This Giants team is just hungry. First time in the playoffs since 2016. They're playing well at the right time. And for a Vikings team to only be a 3-point favorite, that obviously tells you something that, Vegas is thinking the same thing, that, these Giants are for real. I think they go into Minnesota. I think they win that game.
Now, the first time they played, the Minnesota won by 3, right, in Minnesota.
Is that right?
I think so. I think they won on that last second field goal.
Right. Yeah, that's right. Well, the Giants are competitive.
Yeah. So I'm guessing that's where you base your spread off of, I'm guessing.
Potentially, yeah. Sure.
Yeah. All right. Baltimore going to Cincinnati. Cincinnati -6.5 right now.
I like Cincinnati -6.5.
Okay. And then Monday Night Football. Of course, nothing better than Dallas playing Tom Brady, of course, on Monday night. So, definitely the game that the common folk would watch, as we would say. Not the hardcore football fan that's watching, not watching Chargers Jaguars at 8:00 on a Saturday night. Yeah. So Tampa +3 right now, home against Cowboys.
I think this is another game that Mr. Brady takes. Sorry, Damon. I'm sorry, Cowboys fans, but I just think, and based on what that analysis was on grass games and just where Tampa Bay is now and who Mr. Brady is in the playoffs, I think Tampa steals this one. So I take Tampa Bay money line.
All right. In the NFC, now we didn't get into this, so we'll go back. So a healthy Hurts, and I think I keep saying this.
Yeah, because it's so crucial. A healthy Hurts.
Because he was not healthy yesterday. He was only probably about 50%.
Right.
And you could tell that he didn't run the ball. He didn't throw a lot of deep passes. They kicked 5 field goals instead of probably 4 touchdowns and 1 field goal, right? Like all those little things that a healthy Hurts would do. I think a healthy Hurts, the Eagles represent the NFC.
Without a doubt.
I'm not sure where he's going to be in another 2 weeks, potentially another 3 to 4 weeks.
Okay.
I think if he's not ready for prime time, I'm going to take the 49ers to go to the Super Bowl.
All right. Well, that's most logical, them being a 2 seed, and also where they are in the way they play defense, and they have the whole combination of strong offense and defense. Do you agree that the Vikings can be beat as well as the Cowboys? Do you agree with my picks on that for the first round game?
I do, which makes the Giants then go to Philadelphia to play in the second round.
Yeah.
Right? And then it makes San Francisco most likely play Tampa.
Yeah.
So Tampa's got to go out to San Fran. I think I'll be honest, I can't see the way the matchups are playing out. I can't see how you go on the road that much and win in the NFC and in the AFC as well. Right? I don't know. I think there's only 5 teams that can win a Super Bowl this year, and I think it's the 1 and 2 in the NFC and the 1, 2, and 3 in the AFC. Right. How do you discount Tom Brady from potentially being there, right? Like I always, as much as I want to say that they've played poorly, they can't run the ball, they won some of these games in the fourth quarter, very flukish, like all this stuff, and I think they're going to get run out of the building either against San Francisco or potentially Philadelphia, the following week. I just, how do you bet against the guy that's been to 10 Super Bowls and all this stuff, right? Even though he's 45 and all this other stuff, can you bet against him? I can't.
Tough to do with his playoff just legacy.
Yeah. All right. If you pick one super sleeper to win it all, anybody. Somebody could throw $20 on somebody, a super sleeper kind of team. Maybe just they get hot at the right time, get a good matchup, and just win a couple road games and win a neutral field Super Bowl.
Oh man!
Go ahead, say it.
You know what I'm going to say, and people are not going to like it. And I know they obviously have the home game in the first game, but it's those sneaky Buccaneers.
Yeah,
I mean, call me crazy, but that's the team that I see. I just see. I look at
two road games, right? Potentially two road games.
But
unless it gets real crazy and they're playing the Giants in Tampa for the NFC Championship.
Yeah, because I feel. Listen, I do think the Giants could beat the Vikings. With that said, then they have to play an Eagles team in Philadelphia. That's not going to be easy.
No, it's a tough.
They're very, very unlikely. Very, very unlikely. So, but then you have this. You have this Tampa team who, as we talked about, you just go by playoff experience. And I'm not betting against Tom Brady. And what did we joke about when he came back from his retirement? That he wanted to go to the NFC. Because he knew it was weaker, right? And then look what happens. His team that was pretty mediocre all year gets a 4th seed. It's right where he wants to be. Just get that guy in the playoffs, right?
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, has he really slowed down? Like when you look at him this year and you say, did he slow down, or was Tampa just so bad at running the ball that he had to do more than he ever had to do?
More than he had to do.
And that's it.
And as you said, like for 3 quarters, he could be absolute shit. And then all of a sudden in the 4th quarter, it's just like a different person. He becomes like the Incredible Hulk. We've talked about it. Yeah, it's crazy. He turns
the Incredible Hulk. All right. I know we talked about this in the off season, and I just want to get some of your feelings because I think, we talked about Kyler Murray and Cliff Kingsbury got fired today. Yeah. Now, I looked at, I think it was either Ian Rappaport or Schefter, one of the two, how college coaches and the last 10 or 11 college coaches that came to the NFL, how poorly they've performed in the NFL. I think only Jim Harbaugh and I think Chip Kelly is the other one that had winning records. I think Chip's was very close, but I know Jim Harbaugh for sure. But besides that, you see some of these other names, it's awful. And Cliff Kingsbury joins that, right? Now, was it Cliff Kingsbury not putting Kyler Murray in the right positions to succeed, or is Kyler Murray not good enough at this time to succeed? I've heard that people think he's still playing college football in the NFL. He's only 5'9". He's having trouble seeing over the offensive line. All this stuff. When you think about it, what do you think it really comes down to?
I think it comes down to what we discussed in this program. It comes down to coaching, and you find the right coaching, the right team chemistry, you could be successful. Geno Smith, there you go, right? Yeah. I think it could happen for him too.
So you think Murray has the talent to succeed in the
I really do. Okay. I've seen glimpses of it, and I absolutely do, but he has to have the right coaching to be successful.
And I'm guessing that's the way they're thinking, because they wouldn't have
the right players around him. Right? And the right players around him. There's talent there. Kingsbury was not it.
I got to read you something else that I found interesting before I want to run down one other thing with you.
Go ahead, yeah.
You're gonna be like, what the hell?
I love to hear your stats. Please.
Let me see this. This was interesting. Let me see. Where is it? Where is it? The Cardinals. This is about the Cardinals, by the way.
Okay.
I'm getting there. Don't worry. Everybody calm down. Stop yelling at me.
They're all yelling at you in the background.
Oh.
Don't pressure him. He's got enough stress.
Stop yelling at me. Stop yelling at me from the
while you're doing that.
The other side of the glass, right?
Yeah. With the betting tonight, TCU and Georgia. Georgia is minus 13.5. Most bets, about 70% of people are taking TCU with the points plus 13.5. That's what's happening tonight. I happen to be on board with that. We saw these last couple games. We saw how Ohio State was so competitive against Georgia. We saw a TCU team that really everyone thought Michigan was going to win. So I love that. I'll take the plus 13.5 tonight. That's what I'm doing.
All right. So here it is. Ready?
Go ahead. Yep.
The Cardinals have existed for over 100 years as a franchise. All right? Yeah. In their history, they have never had a head coach, any head coach, last longer than 6 years.
Wow.
Okay?
Wow.
They haven't had
100 years. Right.
Yeah. All right. So Bill O'Brien, by the way, was 52-48 in his move from Penn State to the Texans. Chip Kelly was 26-21. And Jim Harbaugh was 44-19-1.
Okay.
Here's the other guys. Ready?
Sure.
Urban Meyer, 2-11.
Woo!
Matt Rule, 11-27. Cliff Kingsbury, 28-37-1. Doug Marrone, 15-17. Greg Schiano, 11-21. Bobby Petrino, 3-10. Nick Saban, 15-17. Steve Spurrier, 12-20. Butch Davis, 24-35. Those are jumping from college to the NFL since 2000.
Jeez.
And there's not a name on that list that makes you feel good except probably Harbaugh.
Yeah.
And he might come back to the NFL now again.
He might. There's been ramblings about that.
And Sean Payton might be back in the NFL next year. So I think D'Amico Ryans gets one of those jobs too, the defensive coordinator from the Niners. I think it's just, assistant coaches from the 49ers automatically get head coaching jobs. That's the way it works. All right. One more thing, and we're going to switch sports here real quick.
Go ahead.
Major League Baseball. Hall of Fame balloting is going on as we speak. Basically, everyone has voted, and they start releasing their ballots like every day. They write articles and all this stuff. There's a guy, Ryan Thibodeau, who's not Mr. Tibbs, who's been tracking this for years. I've been following him for years. He's got a great Twitter thing. He's got this whole spreadsheet. So basically, he tracks any public ballots that he gets. Sometimes he gets anonymous things sent to him. But so right now, he's tracked about 36% of the ballots.
Okay.
As of 7:58 Pacific time today, which was basically about an hour and a half ago, Scott Rowland and Todd Helton have enough votes to get into the Hall of Fame. Billy Wagner is sitting at 73%. You need 75% to get in.
Come on, Billy. 2 more.
Andrew Jones is sitting at 71.6%. Here's a very interesting one, and I think this is a borderline guy that a lot of people think did the juice and all this stuff. Gary Sheffield is sitting at 68.1%. Okay. Now, the guys that actually got caught and suspended, A-Rod, 44.7.
Okay.
Manny Ramirez, 41.8. Andy Pettit, 18.4.
Andy Pettit, 18.4.
Yeah. So A-Rod, who's and Manny, who are maybe the two greatest right-handed hitters in the history of baseball, are right up there. Of course, the whole testing positive, suspension, both of them, it happened to both of them, below 50% right now. with that. So I don't think we're never going to see them get in, just like Bonds and Clemens. Same thing. But I thought it was interesting that Sheffield has garnered 68% of the vote.
I have his rookie card. I hope he gets in.
And Andrew Jones, man, 72%. I know our Braves fans out there who's, Mr. Bailey there and Viggy Betts, maybe they're getting excited for their boy, Andrew Jones.
We shall see.
I remember when he hit the home runs against the Yankees in the 96 World Series when I think he was 19 years old. He broke Mantle's record for the youngest player at the time, which I don't know if it still is the record. It probably is. But at the time, was the youngest player to hit a home run in a World Series game. So 19. I think he hit 2 in that game, too.
Wow.
I was like, wow. And then if you remember, I don't know how much you remember him, he would play literally the shortest center field you had ever seen in your life. He was literally like behind second base.
Yeah, make those tough plays from second.
But he was a phenomenal. He was a Gold Glove outfielder. Phenomenal numbers. Carlos Beltran, by the way, is also up there. Yeah. I find him interesting because he was part of the whole cheating scandal with Houston. He's close to 60% himself.
Right.
But he had some monster seasons and stuff. So very interesting stuff there. Any Knicks updates, Mr. Michael?
Tonight they're playing the Bucks, so that should be interesting after a 4-game winning streak. With a 4-game winning streak going on.
Is Kyle here or is he in Milwaukee?
The game's at the Garden. No, he's here.
Kyle's in New York watching the game because first of all he's got Delta VIP membership with Delta. He's flying with Matt Hasselbeck all over the place. He's in first class constantly.
He's in New York today, so I hope he gets some.
He's got a picture of Giannis in Milwaukee. Now he's gonna have a picture of Giannis in the Garden. He's not
going to get those seats.
He sits courtside with Matt Hasselbeck. Who are you kidding?
Yeah, he's something else, Kyle.
He's friends with those local lawyers that do those 1-800 commercials. He's friends with the guy out there too.
Yeah, he's got a friend that knows a friend.
He's got all these guys.
Got it.
And probably one of the most knowledgeable sports people you'll meet.
Without a doubt. I think I'd like to do a test. I think we should not allow him to watch a Packers game next year and see how he reacts. He won't do it.
No, he has no choice. We're going to kidnap him. We're going to commit. Sorry, I shouldn't say it, but we're going to commit a crime.
Do not say it.
The crime is called kidnapping. We're going to lock him up.
All right.
He comes out of the dungeon.
On that note, it's been a great.
I know he'll never do it, right? He'll never do it.
He is so, and the other thing that's so unique about him is that not only he hasn't missed a Packers game, he chooses to watch it by himself. He doesn't watch with people because he just wants to stay focused on the game.
I think these real obsessed fans, because my brother's an obsessed Eagles fan, that he needs to watch the games by himself as well. They can't have that outside interference in how they watch the game. Right. So me, I'm a Raiders fan. I could have 400 people watching with me. I'll act the same way. Take this phone right here and throw it at the TV. So, all right, very cool. Good night.
Great night.
How you feeling? Did you make it?
Yeah, this fragile boy.
Okay, the Diamond Tap worked.
I'm gonna probably. I hope I can stay up for this game.
NyQuil, DayQuil, all the quills.
All this stuff, man. You've been through it.
It's cold, man. It's been tough. Glad it's not the flu. Glad it's not COVID.
No, it's not. It's not.
Glad it's just a regular, seasonal virus.
Little seasonal thing.
Everybody's, getting all kinds of sicknesses and all this stuff. I'm glad you're feeling better.
Thank you, sir.
We will next Monday is Martin Luther King, so I know we're off from other things, so we'll probably be back next Monday, maybe before, or I don't know, maybe Tuesday because of the game. We'll see. All I know is we'll be back next week, people. Even if Mike is not here, I'll do the whole show by myself. I'll just talk.
I will be here. I will be here.
I'm gonna take off next week and watch you do the show by yourself for an hour.
That would be a good April Fool's.
Just not show up.
Just not show up.
Where are you? I'm watching Air Bud, okay? Leave me alone.
I'm watching Air Bud. I got my popcorn. It's a very emotional scene. I got to be left alone.
It's the version of Air Bud where Robert De Niro became Air Bud. All right, everyone. Have a good night. We'll see everyone next week.
So ridiculous. Goodbye.
Bye.